All right. And welcome back to the Crypto Report, everybody. I am Crypto Kip. Welcome back, everybody. We are live. It is Monday. And the main thing we were talking about over the weekend was a necessary bounce for Ethereum, for crypto, for Bitcoin. And we're kind of seeing it play out right now. A very controversial Coinbase ad came in over the weekend, coming in hot, criticizing the UK and their lack of attention to the crypto space from Coinbase, just firing away at the anti-crypto positioning that UK has put themselves in. And we're going to look at that a little bit in this video. I've got a couple stories to share with you today, just kind of all over the place about crypto overall. Really great news over the last week regarding Fed rate cuts. A lot more optimism in the markets on account of it. And good timing too, because we need to have that explosive part of this bull market, and I think we need to have it soon. And the conditions we have set right now could be getting us set up for that move. Smash the like button, everybody. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Let's talk a little bit about what's going on in this space. I'm moving this up a little bit. Too low. There you go. That's much better. We got it now. Okay, shout out to the chat. Welcome back. Let's go ahead and share the screen and get into some of the news stories to start the day. This is the Crypto Report. I am Crypto Kip. If you guys are new to this channel, we'll subscribe because we have crypto content coming to you guys every single day. On weekdays, we do live streams for you guys because we love you. That's why. 19 million cryptocurrencies in the entire space, but there's only one that's on top. That's Bitcoin. And it's back to $15,000 today, which is pretty spectacular because if you looked at the price action that occurred over the weekend, we had a little bit of rejection on this, fearful double top moment that we've been discussing. Now, I'm not calling it a double top, but I'm saying it looks kind of like the last double top that we had. 1, 2. It's very similar, okay? Are we seeing a true rejection here? Well, we're seeing some kind of potential rejection, but now our candles are turning green to start this next week. This last week candle ended red. Looking at Ethereum is the key, I think, for altcoin season, for crypto overall right now. We're at the stage in the game where you got to keep an eye on ETH. Now, though we did have a rejection for Ethereum at the top of this trend line, just as Bitcoin has had a rejection off the top of this trend line, we discussed on this channel over the weekend that we are going to need to see a weekly candle close at or above this trend line. And guess what? It's like literally flush with this trend line that I was showing you guys over the weekend, which isn't too bad. You can make an argument that it should have closed higher looking at these weekly candles here. But you can also say, pretty good little bounce here. Coin Baron in the chat says ETH shrank. Yeah, I mean, it did come down 10% from the highs, but it is, to start this week, already up a nice 5% just in a day. We like to see that. That's pretty good. And you need the bounce here to get the breakout past $4,000. You need the breakout past $4,000 to see Shiba Inu bounce, okay? To see Crow bounce. And even though it had a red weekly candle, it's flipping green. Why? Because ETH is flipping green. And you know what else is happening is ETH is regaining strength just to start the week. It is very early in the week, guys. You see Bitcoin dominance starting to potentially want to maybe, perhaps, potentially, you'd hope, break back down. You want Bitcoin dominance to break down because you want altcoins to rally. Let's pull up Pepe. I usually have Pepe pulled up. I don't know why it wasn't. I like to look at that one too. Oh my gosh, would you see that? This trend line that I drew out for you guys weeks ago, we're bouncing right now. This weekly candle opened at the bottom of this trend line. Now, if Ethereum continues up, this bounce is a beautiful bounce. If Ethereum breaks below this, well, then Pepe could lose its footing here. Okay? Crow would follow ETH down and print another red weekly candle if Ethereum rejects 4,000 or fails to get above, even 38.58 at this point. But there is some very optimistic news, and I want to share that with you guys. You see XRP up above $3 again. A lot of coins are getting a bounce right here. The key is ETH. Why is ETH bouncing? Something we discussed. Thank you guys. Okay. Got it. Appreciate you. Thank you. I tapped my, yeah, we got it. Now you can hear me, right? What I was saying is the biggest reason that we have this happening. Okay, I'm back. Is the odds have gone up. Rate cut is going to happen. Why? Because jobs data came in bad, pigeonholing the Fed to cut rates. This is the biggest story that we explored over the weekend. Looking at Yahoo Finance today, if you take a peek at some of the news, you'll see this headline: Trump to name new Fed governor, jobs data ahead in coming days. The president is going to actually appoint a new Fed governor. Do you think that Fed governor is going to be pro rate cuts? I think they're going to be pro rate cuts. I don't think they're going to get the job if they're not pro rate cuts. Now, the president isn't the boss of Fed Chair Powell, and he's not the boss of the Fed, but he does appoint them. And now he's got an opportunity to appoint one, because one just stepped down. One of the lady governors in charge stepped down. Why? Probably because of the pressure that the Fed's been facing in this very difficult time of uncertainty. Should we cut rates? Shouldn't we cut rates? Well, tariffs are coming. We shouldn't cut rates, but we need to cut rates because the president says so. But the president isn't the boss of us. But inflation's been getting better, and so maybe it is a good idea that we cut rates, but the tariffs could be bad. Plus, there's global conflicts. Well, there's always global conflicts. This is just what they've been going through. And then too late, pal. He's so late. Nobody's been later. I don't like this guy. I don't like him one bit. I gotta tell you, and that's real. I don't like him. I can't. He's too late. He's too late. This is so you have one step down. Now he's going to appoint a new one, a big, beautiful new governor who likes the cuts. They're gonna cut him, boy. They're gonna cut him. Probably, yeah. I mean, it looks like they're gonna cut them. So this is the catalyst to give us this beautiful bounce. All right, and you like that. You like that. That's why Bitcoin dominance is coming down again today, because there's confidence that a rate cut is coming. And if we know rate cuts are coming, shkadoom. You know what? When was the last time we had a rate cut? Actually, I'm going to hold up. Let's just check something out, because I want to make a point here. By the way, if you guys are watching on X, go ahead and repost the stream. I'm actually going to repost it very quickly from boom. Okay. There you go. I'm just going to repost it on X. But what I want to look up right now is, when is the last time we had a Fed rate cut? So when was the last Fed rate cut. December 18th of 2024. Check it out. December 18th of 2024 was the last time we got a rate cut. Okay, guys? Now, December 18th, I think we knew a rate cut was coming leading into that. This didn't really support my point. What I was going to look at to see when we had the rate cut, is that when Bitcoin dominance fell? Well, the answer is no. Leading into that rate cut, Bitcoin dominance fell. And then the rate was cut here, and it was already on its way back up. Doesn't really support my case, but historically speaking, for these big moves, Fed rate cuts. Okay, guys? Fed rate cuts. That's historically what we've seen for these altcoin seasons. Not on this little flash here. What really happened was we kind of rallied into the presidential election. He was elected, and we had a sell the news event. And then into his inauguration, and then sell the news event. And then it rallied again, and now big drop for Bitcoin dominance. Because why did Bitcoin dominance take a drop? I mean, we broke through. I mean, basically because we're kind of getting to the end of the bull market, right? I mean, relatively speaking, you know, if these things last 1,050 days, then the reality is we're now 980 days into it. So we have, what, 70 days left or whatever it is. Kind of crazy. So I'm not surprised to see a bounce for Ethereum here. Not surprised to see Bitcoin holding strong. FamOG in the chat says, does a bear flag still work on BTC dominance chart? Looks like one is forming on the daily candles for BTC dominance. I think it does. I mean, charts are charts, and I think it counts. I think it counts. I'm still, you know, cautious of this, and I wouldn't be surprised to see more pain before glory, but I think we do need to see that glory soon, and hopefully this is the bounce that brings ETH back up. There is a world where ETH is rallying and Bitcoin's like just stuck. There's a world where that happens. Total market cap. Let's take a peek at that really quickly. Also found a bounce, a very nice bounce here. Right off basically these candle highs, these wicks actually. Is it more of a bounce on the daily time frame? Let's check that out. Yeah, kind of bouncing off the top of these daily candles from our second little peak in 2025. So that's a pretty good bounce. That's a pretty good bounce to see. Some of the news stories, let's talk a little bit about it. Wanted to check out that last Fed rate cut. But Fed rate cuts are coming, and then more likely, I mean, 63% chance that we're going to get a half a point by October 29th, which is incredible. So overall, today, you've got a couple coins up. You've got not that many down today. Actually, just generally kind of a more bullish, you know, name. This Pepe says the cycle's almost over. 3 months left. You better be out. Ben Cohen also stated the same. Market over in 3 months. Yeah, I mean that's what history would be telling us, right? And it's like, well, why haven't we had that altcoin season yet? Well, hopefully this is that moment where it comes. You know. And then there's the argument to be made, well, this is the kind of information that makes people want to stay in the market and not believe that it's over in 3 months. Something like this. Did you guys see this ad? Coinbase's UK musical ad hits a nerve, sparking debate from crypto fans to founders. What is going on? American crypto firm Coinbase dropped a musical advertisement, like a literal musical, which criticized the UK. In this ad, okay, the water's dripping from the ceiling. There's water everywhere. There's trash in the streets. There's people paying in the grocery stores ridiculous amounts of money. People getting fired from their jobs, mass layoffs. They're delivering tandoori because they used to be corporate people and then they got fired. Now they're doing Grubhub basically on their scooters. And then here they are fixing pipes, and a pipe bursts, and you know that is flying up through the air. And the whole time they're saying everything's fine. Everything's fine. And what Coinbase is doing here is they're digging in and a low blow to the UK, saying at the end of the ad, if everything's fine, then don't change anything at all. But when the financial system isn't working for so many people in the UK, it needs to be updated, adding that the firm's mission was to create an open financial system for the world. Many people believe that Bitcoin is the future of money. A couple examples would be billionaire Jack Dorsey believing that Bitcoin will surpass the dollar to become the most widely used currency, probably because the dollar is inflationary, and we've seen all these silly little games with the Fed and the quantitative easing and tightening and melting and oiling and minutia of the language from the Fed chair Powell and the board of governors, who are a private entity, but they're public too. And they're kind of a part of the government, but not so much. And they're appointed by the president, but they're not controlled by the president. But who controls the Fed? Well, that's a secret that you can't know. Might be Klaus Schwab, might be Jamie Dimon, might be some secret emperor somewhere we don't know about. Might really be an unbiased organization. The dollar exists, and the value of the dollar is decided upon the decisions of this magical entity, Fed Chair Powell's group of goblins. Okay? Bitcoin is 21 million supply. It's decentralized. Game over. Okay? And as the UK is struggling, and they're not the only ones in the world that are struggling, a lot of people are struggling. Pizza is very expensive. Pizza is very inexpensive to make. It's very expensive to buy. Everything's expensive. Eggs were expensive. That was kind of complicated in the US. Well, we got lower egg prices, but they're still higher than they were 5-10 years ago by a long shot. It's wild how little these government currencies can get us these days. How difficult it is to buy a house. How difficult it is to have a little extra money to even invest in the markets. Arguably a reason that altcoin season has really been struggling. People have less money. But in this Coinbase UK musical, they really showed water leaking from the ceiling, a pipe bursting, and you know what, soaring through the sky and just splashing in everybody's face. And they're like, everything's fine. And then you have some rich UK citizens that are like, we're moving to Dubai. Why? Because they can go do crypto in Dubai. That's the ad for Coinbase. But the point is that crypto really does solve this in many ways. It's appreciating. It is not inflationary. Okay? Bitcoin is the biggest solution. And altcoins are fantastic. And I'm bullish on altcoins. But Bitcoin versus altcoins. This is something I have in the title. I like Bitcoin more than I like any altcoin. That's just how it is. But I do love trading altcoins, and you can make a ton of money on altcoins when those altcoin seasons happen. And historically, it's something we've seen, and I still think people are going to want to speculate and drive up the prices of altcoins in the future. And some of them do have some cool technologies that could actually get adopted. But in order to really get that move, you got to have these rate cuts. And now they're on the menu, which leads me to a beautiful ending, spectacular blast off for the end of this bull market. But this Coinbase ad and statements from somebody like Jack Dorsey would lead people down the trap of, well, I'm just going to keep buying buying. It's at its highs. I'll buy some more. And I don't have a problem with DCing into Bitcoin, even if you're buying some Bitcoin at the highs. But like holding on and thinking that next year or 2 years from now, like crypto is just going to keep going up and up and up and up and up, and there's not going to be a bear market is a little bit dangerous. Okay. Is it possible? Sure, it's possible, but historically it's just not what we've seen. And even though I think that Bitcoin will surpass the dollar to become the most widely used currency one day, and I think that's possible, I think that we got a while to go. And we got a long while to go. And that doesn't really say much about bull markets and bear markets. We'll probably still have some bear markets on the horizon. But we do have a lot of support. The president says, quote, this crypto, referring to crypto, could perhaps be the greatest revolution in financial technology since the birth of the internet itself. That's what he said. The internet 2.0. And Eric Trump came out and said that 0.1 Bitcoin, 1/10 of a Bitcoin, will be worth an absolute fortune. These people are bullish on crypto. So if you're worried about a double top, just know that others, options traders on Bitcoin, are staying bullish with a $126,000 target now in August. This is according to QCP Capital. We are seeing a bounce here for ETH, for Bitcoin. It's good to see. We are seeing Bitcoin dominance spill over. That's not bearish for Bitcoin. That's just bullish for altcoins. So if you're worried about this double top, know that there are still some bulls out there, and know that we've never had this much support from a president, from our leaders in this country in general. We've never had more attention paid to the Fed and this magical entity that manipulates the value of the dollar through the printing of the dollar, the endless printer. And now that people are understanding this, you see this everything is fine commercial in the UK. And you really got to learn what brings the dollar value, inflationary, deflation, what makes this dollar move. And this antiquated Fed board of governors and the printer, it might not be the best way. Now, Coin Baron in the chat says BTC is too volatile to replace fiat, in my honest opinion. And that's a great opinion. And maybe you are right. Maybe it doesn't replace the dollar. Not replace it entirely. And I guess I shouldn't say replace it entirely, because I actually don't believe that it could replace it entirely either. But what I do believe is that it could seriously gain market share. And I do think it could replace, in my mind, means, make it so that nobody uses the dollar, I guess. That's kind of the way that I think it reads. But I think it can be as popular, if not more popular, around the globe for people to use. The fact that the dollar is inflationary kind of stinks. And one day, to kind of argue against that point, Coin Baron, you say it's so volatile. Well, what if one day, there's like no Bitcoin left to buy, and the demand is so high for Bitcoin that it's just people diamond handing it and holding it, and the volatility is just shot? What if it's not volatile one day? What if it moves just as much as the S&P 500 one day? And I believe there's a world where that's possible. When the market cap gets big enough, when the holders are diamond handed enough, and I think that can come. Like, I believe there will be bull markets and bear markets for sure. Okay. Again, I am not a financial advisor. I'm not here to give you financial advice. We're exploring this topic together. But I do believe in a world where the bear markets are less bearish and the bull markets are less bullish, right? And we've already kind of seen that, especially for the bullish side, less so for the bear side. The bear side, we've kind of always crashed about 80% for Bitcoin, 70-80%. But I think over time, those bear markets won't be 70-80%. They'll be 50% or 40%. They'll be 30% or they'll be 20%. And maybe in this cycle, I wouldn't be surprised in this bear market if it's only like 50%. If we come down to like the previous high or something, maybe we come down to like 40K at worst. But it's a very interesting time. And I do love the discussion that this ad kind of brought forth. I think it's fantastic. And just in general, the UK, you know, has been left behind in the cryptocurrency boom. The ex-chancellor actually has criticized the current hesitant approach crypto, warns the country in danger of missing next surge in the market. Now, this kind of language is this kind of language that makes you think, well, this thing's going to explode forever. I still believe in bear markets, okay? But there will be another boom, and we could have a massive explosion to kind of end this year. But I do think that there will be a bear market around the corner at some point. And I think that would be the boom, if he was smart, he was referring to. Because otherwise, like, that's a country getting urged to panic buy. But at the same time, if they don't have exposure to crypto, I think that's kind of idiotic as a country at this point. It's very risky for them to not. It's like, yeah. You get me. Peter Thiel is going to launch this bullish stock. Okay. This is this crypto stock. This IPO seeks up to $4.2 billion valuation in this US IPO. Looking at launching price between $28 and $31 each. We've had very hot crypto IPOs this year. Now, Circle and Coinbase have kind of come down over the last week or so. But they are looking to get this stock live on the New York Stock Exchange. They're talking about Circle in this article. It's still up 400% from its IPO price. Bullish is going to be one that I think people are looking at. What a good ticker too, BLSH. So get ready for that. That's coming, another crypto IPO that's coming up later this year. And in terms of stocks, there's a lot coming out this week. We are going to have 100 of the top S&P 500 companies reporting their earnings this week. It could prove to be very volatile. Now, if those earnings are good, we could see a pump. If those earnings are bad, we could see a dump. For some reason, we had some good earnings last week for stocks like Coinbase and MicroStrategy, and actually they dumped. Why did the crypto stocks dump? Well, because crypto dumped. That makes sense to me. But generally, if the regular stocks, you know, the Microsofts and the Apples of the world or whatever, I think actually Microsoft already reported earnings. But if the other big firms, the 100 that are reporting this week that aren't necessarily crypto companies, report good earnings, this could cause a pump for the market. If they don't, it could cause a little bit of a stall out for the market. Regardless, Fed rate cuts are coming at this point, according to the data that we're looking at right now, which leads to a bullish narrative for not just crypto, but for stocks as well. So the S&P is up today. We kind of have a lot going up today. If you guys want to trade the volatility of these crypto markets, by the way, Bitcoin, Ethereum, any of your favorite coins out there, you could check out Blowfin. You could check out Bit2Next. Sign up using the link in the description down below. There are deposit bonuses for anybody that does sign up for the first time. If you want to check those out and you haven't done so already, go ahead and do that. Scott Aving said it best in the chat. We do need some more likes for this stream, and I want to hear from you guys in the chat. Let's do a little Q&A. What's cooking, guys? What's on your minds? Let's talk a little bit. Got a lot out there in the stream. I hope you guys enjoy these streams. I enjoy doing them. Scott Eving says it best in the chat as well. Key is to not get greedy. And greed is very easy to get in crypto. Very easy to get greedy in crypto. But you don't want to do that. Scott also says, I feel like there are few limited RWAs. I would diamond in, and the rest will have to profits on the bull market. So I wouldn't be holding any altcoins by the bear market, hopefully. None at all. I don't believe that any altcoins will float or should float. For some reason, Binance stayed very strong. In fact, it dipped less than Bitcoin, which is incredible. But for the most part, all altcoins are going to go 90+% to the downside, period. Not financial advice, period, meaning that's what I see. That's what I've seen. That's what I believe would happen. Tops are hard to identify in the moment, Daryl. That's why you have to look at history and, come up with a strategy around the data. Just like Fed Chair Powell, he likes the data. You should like the data too. Pepe says, there will never in your lifetime be a super cycle. Once rate cuts happen, we would go into a bear market 45 days later. How about that? I'm looking through the chat right now. Here, I'll change the tunes. Throw a question at me if you have one in the chat. Scott Eving says, do you think Bitcoin drops back into its bull flag pennant? I don't know if I have that drawn out. I think the most important thing for Bitcoin is this high. Okay. At this stage in the game, to be honest with you, Bitcoin is not, it's always my focus. Okay. But like in terms of like where the opportunity is at, it should be time for altcoin season. And, you know, the reason I want Bitcoin to break through 122, 123, call it, is so we can have the kind of that altcoin season. Because when Bitcoin breaks through that level, I think that it will be the last run up for Bitcoin dominance. And then from there, we could collapse down and then ETH would be breaking through 4K and we have altcoin season. That would be my hope. Terrell says, you could say we've been in a super cycle since 2008. I mean, we've been in a, if you've been in Bitcoin, you've been in a very well-performing asset. You're a billionaire. From what I've seen, a bull market lasts about 4 weeks. Well, I would argue that the bull market has been actually lasted about 1,000 days. I mean, Bitcoin was at 15K and it's at 114K now. Ethereum has done pretty well too. It's had a lot of chop. Very frustrating, right? It goes from the lows all the way up in 2024, 364%, comes all the way back down, and we're only right back to where we were in March and February 2024. It's just been frustrating for altcoins, but we've been in a bull market. Bitcoin decides if we're in a bull market or a bear market. If we're talking about an altcoin season could be 3 weeks to 3 months. Scott in the chat is asking if I've heard anything about the Ripple case. Came out, anything be postponed? Of course it's postponed. It's always postponed. It's never going to end. The XRP case will never end. XRP will be battling. Ripple will be battling the SEC until I have a beard down to my toes. My Filipino, I'm joking, by the way, but yeah, I'm not surprised to see any delays. Filipino wife and I said, when do you determine if it's a good time to sell or as is coming to an end of the bull market? When everything is going so fast to the upside, when everything is going so well and your portfolio is worth screenshotting, If you want to take a screenshot of your portfolio and you want to text it to your dad to make him proud, or your best friend who didn't buy crypto and be like, look at my portfolio now, man, you should have gotten in, and you're trying to convince them to get in, that's the moment to be selling, I think. I'm not a financial advisor. I can't give you financial advice. But when your friends are texting you, should I be buying Bitcoin? And Bitcoin's literally at $150,000 and everybody's texting you about it, that's probably a time to sell. When you want to take a screenshot and send it to your grandma to make your grandma proud of you, if you're a big crypto investor, that's probably time to take some profit. Probably. It's actually that easy. It's actually that easy. Birthday dinner was great. Yeah, we did. We went golfing together, and then we did a little birthday dinner. Today is actually our 2-year anniversary. So if you guys want to contribute to our anniversary dinner, we're going to do that tonight. Feel free to super chat us. Yeah. Yeah, we have a little anniversary. Today is our 2nd year anniversary of our wedding. Our baby is almost 11 months old. She's cute as ever. ETH is breaking out right now. It's looking decent right now. Yeah, Filipino wife and I hope that was a good answer for you. I think it was a good answer. I think it was a really good answer. I'm not a financial advisor, of course, but when you start seeing those text messages come in, and when you turn on the TV, you can't look away from Bitcoin. When the X timeline, when everybody on X is just going nuts and talking about, craziness, and everybody's talking about 100Xs and extra time. You got to look for that overhyped moment, And we were there. And it's always difficult when you're there. We were there around the presidential election. That was the best time for altcoins. Mitul Patel says, what do you think will be a good price to start taking profit on your crow, in your opinion? I think that anytime you're above the price of 20 cents, it's okay to shuffle some down, because look at all the times we've revisited down to 10 cents and 6 cents and all that. Now I think we can go to $1, but if you get to 30 cents, if you didn't shuffle something to the side, well, then I just don't think you're playing the game right. That's my personal opinion. I am not a financial advisor. I'm not here to give you financial advice. You have to do your own research, my friends, and you have to decide how you want to manage your crypto portfolios for yourself, okay? But on the way up, you shuffle some to the side, I think. If it goes to $1 and you didn't take profit, I don't know what you're doing. If it goes to $2 and you're only taking profit for the first time at $2, well, congratulations. You were in at 13 cents and you rode it all the way to $2. But if you're only taking the profit for the first time at $2, I think you're also doing yourself a disservice, because what if it doesn't get to $2? What if it gets to $1.90 and you fail to take profits and it comes back to $1 and you're like, it's going to go back to $2, but it doesn't, it goes back down to 50 cents. You don't want to get caught in these positions, guys. Okay. This is how these things go. Pepe Whale on X is saying shorts are getting wrecked. The shorts are getting wrecked, especially on Ethereum right now. What is a pro XRP lawyer? A lawyer who likes XRP. There's XRP. Up $3. Doing all right. I read your mind, Filipino wife and I. Okay, all right. So I was in a scramble this weekend for golf. If you know what a scramble is, it's where you take 4 players and you all shoot a ball, and then whoever has the best shot, you take that shot. I'm gonna do a little brag for a second. One of my buddies on the there's a hole where you can, like, the longest drive gets a prize. He had a huge drive, put us out, and we were all excited. And then it was my turn to hit my drive, and since we already had a good one in the fairway, I loaded up, took a swing. I drove a golf ball 355 yards yesterday, and I won a free golf round. Longest golf drive of my life. I wanted to share it with you guys. I don't know if you guys are golfers, but I drove a golf ball 355 yards. I was on a hill. There was a little wind on my back, a little bit, but it happened, and I'm proud. All right. All right, guys. Well, I love crypto. I love you all. And I love my wife. 2-year anniversary today. I got a meeting later today. I got to go sell some insurance. I do insurance by day and crypto. Well, insurance and crypto by day and crypto and insurance by night, I guess. And then after that, we're going to do a little anniversary dinner. With the bounce. Oh, yeah. I mean, the rollout, the bounce, all that stuff, Scott, for sure. For sure. Thanks. Kind of cool. All right, guys. I'm going to get out of here. 41-minute live stream. Subscribe to the channel if you like the content. Smash a like. We'll keep this going, guys. I think we got some exciting times ahead for altcoins, but you got to keep rooting for Ethereum. We need that rate cut. It's looking like it's coming. This is a recipe for that big moment we've all been waiting for. And if you're excited for it, if you're ready for it, smash a like if you like it. If you want to trade the volatility of these markets, check out BitTuneX, check out Blowfin. In the description of this video, there are some sign-up bonuses you can claim when you do sign up and deposit money to those platforms. If you want to do so, continue to do your own research, my friends. We'll keep the crypto news coming to you day in, day out. I'll see you in the next one, y'all. Have a great day. Peace.